Jack sat in his small room, surrounded by wires, monitors, and half-eaten snacks. He was just an ordinary guy, a space nerd who fixed broken machines during the day and listened to space signals at night. He wasn't a scientist or an astronaut, but he had a powerful radio setup and a curious mind. That night, something strange happened. As the clock hit 2 a.m., his computer beeped. A new signal was coming in, soft at first, then louder. He leaned closer, adjusting the frequency. The signal wasn't just noise, it was a pattern, dots and lines, almost like Morse code. Jack's heart beat faster. He had heard strange signals before, but this one felt different. He ran the data through his translation software. The message appeared on the screen, simple and clear. "Hello, human, I am lost." Jack stared at it, confused and excited. "Is this a prank?" He whispered. He looked outside. The night was calm, the stars blinking like tiny eyes. He looked back at the screen. Something inside him said it wasn't fake. He smiled and typed back, jokingly, "Hello, Cutie." He laughed to himself, thinking no one would reply, but within seconds, his screen flickered. Then came the reply, "Cutie." "I like that." Jack froze. "What the—" he said. The screen changed again. A soft blue light appeared, slowly forming into a shape, a face. It was not human, but it wasn't scary either. Big silver eyes, glowing skin, and soft purple hair floating like it was underwater. She looked young, curious, and was she blushing? Jack leaned in. "You can see me?" he asked. She nodded slightly. "Yes, I hacked into your device. I hope that's okay." Jack blinked, his hands shaking. "Who are you?" he asked. The girl tilted her head, her cheeks glowing brighter. "I am Princess Avera, from planet Neravia. I am lost and hiding." Jack felt like he had entered a dream, a real alien, a princess, calling him. "Cute?" He tried to stay calm. "Why are you hiding?" he asked. Before she could answer, the screen flickered again. The signal weakened. Her image started to break apart. She looked worried. "They found me. I must go for now." Jack stood up. "Wait, who's they? Who are you running from?" "Avera's." Image flickered one last time. She looked straight at him and whispered, "You are kind. Thank you." "Jack," then the screen went black. Jack stood there, shocked and silent. He hadn't told her his name. How did she know? He quickly replayed the signal, but the message was gone. No trace, no data, just silence. His computer showed no signal detected. It was like she was never there. Jack stepped outside into the cold night. Everything looked normal. No spaceships, no strange lights, just stars. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed. He felt watched. Suddenly, a faint flash appeared in the sky. Not like a shooting star. It stopped midair, then disappeared. Jack's eyes widened. "Okay, that's not normal," he whispered. The next morning, Jack didn't tell anyone. Who would believe him? He went to work like usual, but his mind was stuck on the girl with silver eyes and a glowing smile. That evening, when he returned home, something was waiting for him. A small object lay in his backyard, half buried in the soil. It was glowing faintly, and it hummed like it was alive. Jack picked it up carefully. The moment his fingers touched it, the device lit up and spoke. "I'm coming," it said in a soft female voice. Jack dropped it in shock. It was Avera, her voice clear and close. He looked around, heart pounding. She was coming here to Earth, to him. Jack had no idea what was about to happen. But one thing was clear. His life was never going to be normal again. The birds had stopped singing. The wind didn't blow. It was as if the world was holding its breath. Jack stood alone in his backyard, staring at the strange glowing device in his hand. It was smooth and warm, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then, it spoke again. Her voice, soft and clear, filled the silence. "I am closer than you think." Jack's hands trembled. He looked up at the sky, but nothing was there. No ships, no lights, no sound, just the deep blue of early evening. Yet his heart said she was near. He rushed inside, locked the door, and stared at the device again. It had stopped glowing, dead, silent, like a dream fading after waking up. Jack didn't sleep that night. Every creak, every gust of wind made him jump. Was someone watching him? Was she watching him? The next morning, he got his answer at exactly 7:03 a.m. Jack opened his door to grab the newspaper and froze. There, lying just beyond the porch, was a shape, small, curled up, glowing faintly. It was her, Princess Avera. She was real. She was here. Her body was shaking, her skin flickering like a weak light. Jack ran to her side. "Avera," he whispered, "is that really you?" Her eyes opened slowly. They were tired, but they still held that silver shine. "You remembered my name," she said with a weak smile. Then she fainted in his arms. Jack didn't think. He carried her inside, locked the doors, pulled the curtains. He placed her on the couch and covered her with a blanket. Her skin felt cool, like metal under moonlight. He stared at her, unable to believe it. She wasn't a dream. She wasn't a signal. She was alive, and she was in his house. Suddenly, the TV turned on by itself. The screen showed static, then a symbol, a red triangle spinning in the center. A cold robotic voice spoke. "Unauthorized signal detected. Zone 23. Target must be recovered." Jack quickly turned it off, heart racing. "They're looking for her," he whispered. Avera opened her eyes again. "I disabled their trackers," she said, her voice low. "But not for long." "They're coming." Jack looked at her, confused and worried. "Who are these people?" he asked. She sat up slowly. "My own kind hunters. I ran away from them because I learned the truth." Before Jack could ask what truth, the lights flickered. A car passed slowly outside. Not just any car. It was black with tinted windows and a strange dish on top. Jack pulled Avera back. "You can't be seen," he whispered. Avera nodded, her eyes scanning the room. She pulled a small cube from her pocket and threw it into the air. It floated and turned invisible in seconds. A blue shimmer spread across the house, like a shield. "No signal can enter or leave now," she said. Jack's jaw dropped. "You just did that? With a cube?" She looked at him and smiled softly. "You humans use wires and boxes, we use light." He couldn't help but laugh a little. Even in danger, her calm voice made everything feel lighter. And once again, her cheeks glowed gently. Was she blushing again? Just then, a loud knock hit the door. Jack and Avera both froze. "Knock, knock, knock. Mr. Jack Morris, this is Agent Rayner. May we speak with you?" Jack didn't move. He looked at Avera. She was already hiding behind the couch. Eyes alert, he walked slowly to the door, opened it just a little. A man in a black suit stood outside, wearing sunglasses even though it was cloudy. "Sir," the agent said, "did you see anything fall from the sky recently? Any strange objects?" Jack shook his head, trying to look clueless. "Nope, just squirrels," he said with a fake smile. The agent didn't smile back. "We detected a signal from this area. If you see anything strange, call us." He handed Jack a black card. No number, no name, just a red triangle. Jack nodded, closed the door, and locked it twice. He turned to Avera, still hiding. "They know you're here," he said. Avera looked at him, her eyes calm but serious. "I'm sorry for bringing danger to your home." Jack took a deep breath. He should have been afraid. He should have told her to leave. But all he said was, "Then we better hide you well." It started with the sound of wind, but there was no wind. The trees outside stood still, the leaves frozen in place like they were afraid to move. Inside the house, the air felt heavier, thicker, like something big was about to happen. Jack stood at the window, watching the black car slowly drive away. His fingers were still holding the strange card the agent gave him. No phone number, no email, just a red triangle glowing faintly on the black surface. Something about it felt wrong. Behind him, Avera sat on the floor, her silver eyes scanning every corner of the room. Her skin no longer glowed as brightly as before. She looked tired, drained, as if Earth itself was pulling her down. "This planet is heavy," she whispered. Jack turned to her. You okay? She nodded slowly. Yes, but I can't stay hidden for long. My body isn't made for this gravity. Jack knelt beside her. You came all this way to ask for help, right? Avera looked at him and smiled weakly. I came because I had no one else to trust. He helped her stand and led her to the garage. It was dusty, full of old boxes, tools, and an old van he hadn't used in years. This is where we'll hide. It's not a palace, but it's safe. Avera looked around curiously. Is this where your machines sleep? She asked, pointing at the car. Jack laughed. Yeah, kind of. It hasn't moved in months, but it still runs. She touched the van gently. It smells like rust and oil. Jack grinned. Welcome to Earth. They worked together for hours. Jack cleared space for her, brought food, water, and blankets. Avera used her cube to scan the area, setting up a soft energy field that made the garage invisible to any tracking tech. Jack didn't understand how it worked, but he didn't need to. She was here, and she was real as night fell. Avera sat beside an old tool shelf, watching the spider build its web. You humans live so quietly, she said. Jack joined her, sitting on a toolbox. Well, until you landed, he joked. She smiled, her cheeks glowing again. I still remember what you said the first time. Jack raised an eyebrow. What? Hello, Cutie. She nodded, then looked away, embarrassed. No one has ever called me that before. There was a long pause, soft and warm. Then, a loud bang broke it. The garage door shook. Lights outside flashed red and white. Jack ran to the small window. 3 men in black suits were checking nearby houses, carrying strange scanning devices. They're searching house by house, Jack whispered. He turned to Avera. If they find you, they'll take you. Avera stood up slowly. No, they'll kill me. My knowledge is a threat to them. Jack looked at her. What do you know? She stepped forward, her voice low but steady. My planet. My family. They hide a secret, a code, hidden inside me. A truth that could destroy the war machines built by my own people. Jack felt his stomach twist. Then we really need to keep you safe. Suddenly, the lights in the garage flickered. The air turned cold. Avera stepped back, her hands glowing slightly. They've activated a trace pulse, she said. They're scanning for life forms. They'll find me if I stay here. Without thinking, Jack grabbed his car keys. We're leaving, he said. Avera blinked. Where? Jack smiled. Somewhere they can't follow, and somewhere that van can still reach. They quickly packed what they could. Jack helped Avera into the van, started the engine, and opened the back exit. The tires screeched as they rolled into the night, headlights off, heartbeats loud as they disappeared into the shadows. The black-suited men reached the garage. They scanned the air, frowning. One of them looked at the faint energy signal left behind. She was here, he said. But now, she's running, asterisk. The tires rolled like thunder across the cracked highway. A cold mist hung over the road, hiding everything beyond the headlights. It felt like the world had emptied itself, leaving only 2 beings behind, one human and one not. Jack gripped the steering wheel tightly, eyes locked ahead. Avera sat beside him, silent, watching the stars disappear behind the clouds. They didn't speak for a long time, and then the radio turned on by itself. A voice crackled through the static, not from Earth, not human. Surrender the code, or Earth becomes a battlefield. Jack slammed the radio off. His voice was calm, but his knuckles were white. They're still tracking us. Avera closed her eyes and whispered, They'll never stop. Until I'm gone. Jack looked at her. No, until we win. They stopped only once. At an empty gas station in the middle of nowhere. The air smelled like dust and oil. The lights flickered like they were afraid of the dark. Jack filled the tank while Avera sat inside, staring at her hands. She whispered to herself, His world is broken, but kind. His people are noisy but warm. When Jack returned, she asked, Why do you help me? Jack paused, then shrugged. I guess. I couldn't let the only girl who blushed at my jokes get hunted. Avera looked away quickly. but her cheeks lit up again. That moment didn't last long. A drone appeared above the station, silent but deadly. Its red scanner flashed over the van, triggering an alarm. The roof opened, revealing a weapon charging up. Jack didn't wait. He jumped into the driver's seat and slammed the pedal. The van roared to life, tires screaming as it sped away. A blast exploded behind them, shaking the road. They were being hunted, for real, on the highway. 3 black vehicles appeared behind them. No headlights, no sirens, just shadows chasing. Shadows. Avera leaned out the window and tossed her cube into the air. It split into 4 smaller spheres and zoomed backward, forming a blue energy wall. The cars behind them smashed into it, crashing and flipping through the air like toys. Jack looked at her in shock. What was that? She answered calmly, "Defense mode, level 1. If they send more, I'll use level 2. Jack chuckled nervously. "Remind me not to make you angry." But then, her glow dimmed again. She leaned back, eyes closing slowly. Jack panicked. Hey, stay with me. I use too much energy," she whispered. "My system can't recharge on this planet." Jack had no idea what to do. No hospital could help her. No doctor could understand her body. He just drove, faster, farther. Through the night, they reached an abandoned observatory deep in the forest. The towers were cracked, but the walls were strong. It was once used to look at the stars. Now it would hide one. Inside, Jack made a bed from old blankets. Avera lay down, her breathing slow but steady. Jack sat beside her, unsure of what to say. After a while, she opened her eyes and whispered, "Back on my planet, people feared me. They saw a princess, not a person." Jack replied softly, "Here, you're just Avera, the girl who broke my garage door and saved my life." She smiled again, tired but warm, and yes, her cheeks glowed. But outside, in the dark woods, something watched. A black drone hovered silently above the trees, scanning the observatory. It sent one message back to its masters: "Target found." Some stars die silently. They flicker, dim, and vanish. No sound, no scream. Just light fading into the dark. Jack watched Avera from the other side of the room. She lay on the observatory floor, covered in blankets, her silver glow now dull-like. The last light of a candle. Every breath she took seemed heavier than the last. She wasn't injured. She was breaking. He stepped closer, whispering, "Are you okay?" Avera opened her eyes slowly. "I'm not made for your air," she said, "or your sky, or your ground. Everything here pulls me down." Jack sat beside her, trying to hide the panic in his chest. "There's got to be something we can do." She shook her head gently. "I'm not dying, not yet, but I'm losing time." Jack didn't understand fully, but he knew she was serious. That meant he had to be serious too. "Then tell me everything," he said. "No more hiding. What are you really running from?" Avera sat up, weak but steady. She touched the small crystal at her neck, and suddenly, the air shimmered. A hologram filled the observatory walls. Star maps, alien cities, fleets of warships floating in silence. She pointed to a symbol, a glowing spiral hidden within a triangle. "This is the code," she said. "My family created it generations ago. A tool, a weapon, a truth." Jack stared at it, confused. "What does it do?" Avera turned to him. "It can stop all the machines, every drone, every hunter, every warship powered by the central AI. Once activated, it shuts them down forever." Jack's eyes widened. "You're saying you could end their war?" Avera nodded. "Yes, but only someone carrying royal blood can activate the code." She touched her chest. "It's inside me, not a device, not a file. It's part of my DNA." Jack stood up and paced. "So why not activate it?" Her answer was quiet. "Because once I do, I die." Silence filled the room. Even the wind outside seemed to stop. Jack turned back to her, eyes wide. "Are you serious?" She nodded again. "It's the cost. One life for peace. That's why I ran." Jack dropped into the nearest chair. He didn't know what to say. He had just started to know her, and now she was telling him she was born to sacrifice herself. Avera smiled faintly. I didn't want to die before I knew what it felt like to live, to laugh, to blush. Her cheeks glowed again, even now, even in this moment, and Jack felt his heart twist. Then we find another way, he said firmly. We stop them without you dying. Avera looked at him with soft eyes. No one has ever said that to me before. Then she whispered, you're different, outside. The drone from before had returned. This time, it wasn't alone. 4 black hunter ships hovered silently in the clouds above the forest, each one ready, each one armed, inside the observatory. Jack powered up his laptop and connected it to Avera's cube. She guided him, speaking slowly. Download this map. It shows the last safe signal station. Jack nodded. We'll send your message from there. Bring your people here, the good ones, Avera added. Once that signal goes out, the hunters will know. They'll come fast. Jack smiled grimly. Let them come. I've got tools, a crazy plan, and a girl who glows when I call her cute. Avera blushed again. Of course, suddenly, the observatory shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. Jack grabbed her hand. They found us, he said. Avera stood, weak but ready. Jack handed her a small metal rod. Something he had turned into a weapon using her tech. We fight, we run, we don't die, she smiled. Together? Jack nodded. Together. And outside, in the dark sky, the hunter ships began to descend. Asterisk. The stars were burning. Not in the sky. On the screens, on the walls, inside the code. Something ancient had awakened. Avera stood in the center of the observatory, her body glowing like silver fire. Her cube floated above her hands, spinning faster and faster. The code inside her was activating, outside. The hunter ships hovered like silent vultures, black metal. Red eyes, no mercy. Jack ran from window to window, checking every angle. He had set traps, built weapons, hacked lights. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a guy with a tool belt, a stubborn heart, and someone worth protecting. They're almost here, he said. Avera didn't answer. She was lost in the signal now. Her voice echoed with strange tones, alien syllables mixed with data pulses. Then the sky screamed. A laser tore through the treetops, setting the forest on fire. The ground shook, the walls cracked. One hunter ship landed in the clearing, opening its claws. They're on foot, Jack muttered. Grabbing his homemade shock rifle, he turned to Avera. How much longer? She opened her eyes. They were glowing completely now, no pupils. 3 minutes, she said. Jack nodded. Then I hold the line. Outside, the hunters stepped forward, tall, armored, and silent. Their leader raised a black staff, and the sky shimmered like glass breaking. Jack stepped out of the observatory. He aimed his weapon and shouted, "She's not yours anymore." The hunter spoke with a cold, robotic voice. "She belongs to the code, and the code belongs to us." Jack fired. The energy blast hit one of the hunters, sending it flying. The others charged. Jack ran, firing, dodging, shouting. He bought seconds. Every second mattered inside. Avera kept speaking. The cube pulsed, releasing shock waves through the atmosphere. Satellite dishes hidden in the mountains aligned on their own. The deep space antenna on the observatory roof began to glow blue. "Calling Noravia Prime," Avera spoke. "This is Princess Avera. Blood of the Spiral. I request sanctuary and peace." Her body trembled. Her knees buckled. The code was burning through her. Every part of her was being rewritten. Outside, Jack was on the ground, his weapon sparking, his arm bleeding. One hunter stepped closer, aiming a plasma blade at his chest. Jack looked up and whispered, "Cutie, it's your turn." Before the blade hit, a wave of energy burst from the observatory. It knocked every hunter back. The ship above cracked in the sky and fell like a broken tooth. A glowing beam shot into space, brighter than anything Jack had ever seen. It went past the moon, past the stars, into the black. The signal was sent inside. Avera collapsed. The cube dropped beside her, still pulsing but slowing down. Jack crawled to her side. Avera. Hey. Talk to me. Her skin was pale, her glow fading, but her voice was soft. They heard me, she whispered. They're coming. Jack held her hand. Then hold on just a little longer. Far above Earth, in the dark silence of space, a massive fleet began to move. Silver ships, shaped like wings, filled the stars. At their center, a royal flagship. Avera's home. The war had shifted. The code was alive, and now, so was hope. The sky wasn't blue anymore. It shimmered with gold and silver, alive with ships that did not belong to Earth. They hovered without sound, casting wide shadows across the forest. Birds didn't fly, time didn't move. The planet waited. Jack stood outside the observatory, holding Avera in his arms. She wasn't glowing now. Her skin was pale, her breath shallow, but she was alive, barely. Then, the largest ship above them opened. A beam of soft light came down like a doorway from the stars. From it descended figures dressed in silver armor, their eyes glowing with royal code. They walked without touching the ground. At their front, a tall woman with markings on her skin and a crown floating above her head. Avera, she said, her voice echoing. Daughter of the spiral, it is time to come home. Jack looked down at Avera. She blinked slowly, then sat up with effort. I sent the code, she said. Did they hear me? The royal woman nodded. Yes, and we have shut down every hunter system. The war is over. Jack smiled with relief, but something about the woman's tone made his chest tighten. She added, but the code came at a cost. Your DNA has changed. You cannot survive here much longer. Avera looked at Jack, her eyes full of 1,000 unspoken words. Then she whispered, what happens to him? The woman turned cold and sharp. He cannot come with you. He's not of our kind. Our ships cannot carry humans. Jack didn't flinch. He just nodded quietly. Figures, he said with a half smile. I always knew you were out of my league. Avera stood up, her legs shaking. She walked toward the beam of light, then stopped. I don't care about rules, she said. I don't care about blood, thrones, or codes. The woman frowned. You are royalty. Avera looked back at Jack, and he's the only one who saw me. Not my power, not my code, just me. Jack stepped forward. You don't have to choose, he said. You saved your world. That's enough. She shook her head. No, not enough. Then she turned to the royal woman and spoke in her native tongue, fast and sharp. The woman's expression changed, first shock, then anger, then something softer. She raised her hand, and the beam of light narrowed. Only enough for one. Avera turned back to Jack. Smiling, I gave up my title, she said. They can't stop me from choosing where I belong. Jack blinked. You gave it up? She nodded. I may not survive forever here, but I want to live the time I have with you. He didn't know what to say, so he just said what he always did. Hello, Cutie. And just like always, she blushed. They watched together as the ships pulled back, vanishing into the stars like glowing dust. No more war, no more code, just silence and peace. Avera leaned against Jack's shoulder, the forest lit only by the moon and her faint silver light. I used to think being powerful meant being alone, she whispered. Jack smiled. Now you're just powerful and dating a guy who owns a rusty van. She laughed, and for the first time, it sounded fully human.